I really love mushrooms. I love them every way you can prepare them. I love them on pizza. Fried mushrooms are wonderful on salads. I even eat them plain. I like mushrooms so much. Because of that, today we're going to make some mushrooms out of wood on the lathe. So why don't you come along with me? I'm sure we're going to have a good time because I'm such a fun guy. The first step in our project is to screw this mounting plate for the lathe onto the end of this log. I'm going to pre-drill to make sure that the screws go in and don't break. Then we're mounting it on the lathe. I don't know what species of wood this is. It's just a piece of log that came out of a friend's firewood pile. Next, I'm using a gouge to turn the piece of firewood down to a perfect cylinder. As you can see, I could really use a longer tool rest so I don't have to keep moving it. Now I'm using one of my carbide gouges to kind of fine tune the cylinder and also to delineate where the bottom of the mushroom cap is. Next we start tapering it towards the top of the cap, keeping in mind what a mushroom cap looks like. Now we're paring down underneath it a little more and tapering as we go. I'm using this round carbide gouge to kind of hollow out the bottom of the mushroom cap. We're undercutting it a bit. Next, with the parting tool, we start to whittle down the end of the mushroom cap so we can cut it off. We finish this up with a little saw. Now using our gouge, we continue to shape the mushroom cap. Now we're going to take down the stem underneath the mushroom cap a little. Once that's done, we run it through all the stages of our sandpaper to get it smooth. Now I'm going to go ahead and pre-finish the cap while it's on the lathe. I'm using Odie's oil here. Correction, I'm using way too much Odie's oil. I shouldn't have dipped the rag that deep in it. Now we're buffing it to a high shine. It's time to cut the cap off of the stock. We do this with a little saw. Now we're going to make the stem. We just take a poplar dowel and mark the center of it, and then I'm marking some holes that are off center from the very center of the dowel. Now we're going to install our chuck on our lathe and loosely clamp the dowel in it. And instead of putting the tailstock in the center of the dowel, we're going to put it on one of those offset marks. And after tightening the dowel down the rest of the way, you can see that it makes it wobble off center. Now using our gouge, we're going to start whittling down the dowel a little bit. And as we stop it, you can see it's only taking wood off of one portion of that off-centered dowel. Now moving it to another one of the off-centered holes, it's going to wobble in a different pattern. And once again, we're going to start taking wood off. And it takes it off of a different portion of the dowel. One last time, we're putting it in an offset hole. I'm going to start whittling down again. Now as you can see, the result of this off-centered turning is a very random mushroom stem. Now we're going to put the tailstock in the very center of the dowel. Because we're done turning it down, we're just going to sand it now. By sanding it, it smooths everything out and makes the transitions very even. Now using our gouge, we're going to start paring down the end so that we can eventually cut it off. On the other end, we're going to start paring it down as well, but we're going to leave a little dowel end on this end because that's going to be the bottom that goes into our base. Now with the saw, we're finishing cutting it off at the top end and also the dowel end. Now with a scrap block of wood with a hole in it, we're going to put our stem down in it to hold it plumb while we drill a hole in the top of the stem. This hole corresponds to the diameter of the dowel we left on the bottom side of the cap. And with a little glue, we push the pin of the mushroom cap in the top of the stem. I've dug around in my scrap bin and found some pieces of rough walnut cut off that will make a perfect base. I'm just trimming them to size. Now we need to mark where we want our mushrooms to live. Taking it over to the drill press, with a large Forstner bit I make a shallow hole for the stem of the mushroom and a smaller hole for the dowel on the end of the mushroom. We're going to finish this base with some clear lacquer. I've masked off the areas where the mushrooms are glued in so that we don't get lacquer there. The glue won't stick well to a smooth lacquered surface. Now peeling off the masking, we're going to do a final test fit. When we're happy with that, we're going to add some glue and install the mushrooms permanently in our base. And here we have the finished product. I made a couple of these while I was doing it. You can see the mushroom caps vary in shape a little bit. In the wild, I would assume they would vary in shape a little too. I really like how this rough walnut works with the mushrooms as the base. It's kind of wormy. It looks like maybe an old log that they'd be growing out of. Well, I couldn't be happier with how these little guys turned out. You know, the other day I was watching a YouTube video of someone turning these, and then like the algorithm does, it kept feeding me videos of people turning mushrooms. So I thought I'd try my hand at it, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. You know, you turn a lot of bowls, and it kind of, you know, you get kind of tired of turning bowls after a certain point. So you're looking for something new, and this is a great alternative for that. Plus, I think these would make a nice little gift for somebody that was having a housewarming or something. You could keep these made up ahead of time, a few of them, and just pass them along to them. So I thank you for watching the video and making it to this point. And if you haven't checked it out already, check out my website, thetennesseetinkerer.com. Also, check me out on Instagram. Again, I don't know what I'm doing on Instagram, but Mrs. Tinkerer knows. So, you know, drop me a line or something. So, until next time, on the next video, thanks for watching.